Paula was a young, beautiful, and rich lady, born into an illustrious family. Moreover, she was a complete model for all the virtues of the heart and spirit. She died at age 36 in 1851. She was one of those individuals whose eulogy can be summarized by everyone as, "Why does God take such persons so early?" Happy are those who are thus blessed by being remembered in such a way. She was good, sweet, and tolerant towards all, and was always ready to forgive or mitigate evil rather than increase it. Slander never stained her lips. Without being haughty or prideful, she treated those below her with a benevolence that displayed no menial familiarity, and she never set herself apart from them with airs of superiority or humiliating condescension. Understanding that those who make a living from their work are persons without means, and that because of their condition and in order to sustain themselves, they need the money owed to them, she was never late in paying wages. The very thought that someone might go in want because of a late payment weighed heavily on her conscience. She was not one of those persons who always have money available to satisfy their own fantasies rather than to pay their obligations. She could not understand how it could be in good taste for the wealthy to accumulate debt, and she would feel disgraced if anyone could have said that her suppliers had to grant her an advance. Hence, her death brought much grief, but no claims against her. Her charity was inexhaustible, but not that conventional charity that puts on a show in the full light of day. It was a charity of the heart, and not of ostentation. Only God knew about the tears she wiped away and the desperation she relieved, for her good acts were only witnessed by herself and the misfortunates she assisted. She especially knew how to find hidden misfortunates. These were the most desperate, and she helped them with a delicacy that raises rather than lowers self-esteem. Her social status and her husband's high position obligated her to perform onerous household roles from which she could not excuse herself. However, in order to completely satisfy the requirements of her position, without being stingy, she did so with great orderliness and managed to avoid ruinous wastefulness and superfluous expenditures, thereby enabling her to reduce by half what others might have spent without doing nearly as well. She was thus able to save a large part of her fortune for the needy, having destined a large share of her resources exclusively for this purpose, so sacred to her. She regarded it as a reduction in what she would otherwise spend on the upkeep of her household. Hence, she found a way of reconciling her societal duties with her duties towards the needy. Evoked 12 years after her death by a relative who had accepted Spiritism, she gave the following communication, responding to several questions asked of her.
You are right, my friend, in thinking that I am happy. Actually, I am happy beyond anything you could imagine, despite my being still far from the highest plane. I used to belong to Earth's fortunate ones, for I don't recall having experienced any real sorrow. Youthfulness, health, wealth, praise, I had everything that comprises happiness among you. But what is such happiness compared to what may be experienced here? What are your most splendid galas, where people display the most valuable jewels, when compared to the assemblies of spirits who shine with a light that your eyes could not bear, and which is the appanage of their purity? What are your palaces and golden halls before these aerial dwellings, the vast field of space laced with colors that would pale the rainbow? What are your step-by-step walks in the park before the voyages through this immenseness that may travel faster than lightning? What are your narrow horizons full of clouds before the grand spectacle of worlds orbiting around in a limitless universe under the almighty hand of the Most High? How sad and noisy your most melodious concerts are before that soft harmony that makes the fluids of the ether and all the fibers of the soul vibrate. And how sad and insipid your greatest joys are before the ineffable sensation of bliss that incessantly saturates our being like a beneficent fragrance, without any blemish of restlessness, worry, or suffering. Here everything breathes love, trust, and sincerity. Everywhere there are loving hearts. Everywhere we see friends. Nowhere is there envy or jealousy. This is the world in which I dwell, my friend, and to which all of you will undoubtedly arrive by following the morally upright path. One would soon tire of an unvarying happiness, however. Don't think that our happiness is exempt from changing suddenly. It is neither an unending concert, a perpetual festival, nor is it beatific contemplation for all eternity. No, it is movement, life, and activity. Although occupations cause no fatigue, they present an incessant variety of aspects and emotions because of the thousands of incidents they entail. Each spirit has its mission to fulfill, wards to protect, friends to visit on earth, processes of nature to oversee, and suffering souls to console. There is a coming and going not from one street to another, but from one world to another. We meet, depart, and then join one another again. We assemble at a certain point and share what we have done. We congratulate each other on our successes. We consult and mutually assist one another with difficult cases. Finally, I assure you that no one has even a second in which to become bored. At present, the earth is our main concern. What activity among spirits! What a multitude of spirits rushing toward the earth to take part in its transformation. They are like a legion of workers occupied with clearing a forest under the command of experienced foremen. Some chop down the old trees with an axe, some pull up deep roots, others clear the land. These plow and sow the soil. Those erect a new city upon the smoldering ruins of the old world. Meanwhile, the leaders meet, hold council, and send messengers with their orders in every direction. The earth must be regenerated within a certain time. The designs of providence must be accomplished. That is why everyone is at work. Don't think that I myself am only a spectator of this great work. I would feel ashamed if I were to remain idle while everyone else was busy. An important mission has been entrusted to me, and I am making every effort to fulfill it in the best way possible. I did not arrive at my present position in the spirit life without a struggle. Rest assured that no matter how meritorious my last existence might have seemed, it would not have been enough. Over many lifetimes I passed through the trials of labor and poverty, which I had voluntarily chosen in order to strengthen and purify my soul. I had the pleasure of emerging victorious from those trials, but I had yet to undergo one more, the most dangerous of all, wealth and material well-being, a well-being without any bitterness. That is what comprised the danger. Before attempting it, I desired to feel strong enough not to succumb. God took into account my good intentions and granted me enough grace to uphold me. Many spirits are seduced by appearances and rush to choose wealth. What disgrace befalls them? Too weak to confront the dangers of wealth, they allow material seduction to triumph over them in their inexperience. Workers, I am in your ranks. Like you, I, the noble woman, earned my bread with the sweat of my brow. I suffered privations and passed through harsh times, and that is how I developed the virile forces of my soul. If I hadn't, I would have undoubtedly failed at my last trial, which would have put me far behind. Like me, you will also have to go through the trial of wealth, but don't rush to ask for it too soon. You, who are already wealthy, always keep in mind that true fortune, imperishable fortune, cannot be found on the earth, and understand at what price you can merit the grace of the Almighty.